Hello and welcome to program News at 7, where every story shapes your world. I'm your host Mahnur Qureshi. Let's take a look on the headlines first. Pakistan and Afghan Taliban regime are scheduled to hold a follow-up meeting on November 6 to finalize details of their ongoing truce following renewed peace talks in Istanbul. The United States and India sign a 10-year defense framework aimed at expanding military collaboration and enhancing information sharing. Pakistan issues visas to more than 2,100 Sikh pilgrims from India to participate in the birth anniversary celebration of Baba Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the founder of Sikhism. Those were the topics we are going to discuss in today's program, and moving forward to our first and very important topic, where Pakistan reopened Torkham border crossing with Afghanistan, allowing thousands of Afghan refugees to go back home. The repatriation of Afghan families with and without evidence was abruptly suspended on October 10, followed by the border clash between the two states. And we all know that beforehand, the both states signed a defense agreement where they both are going to talk about the peace, and they both are going to work towards the peace. To talk about that, to unfold the humanitarian, economic and diplomatic aspects of it, we are joined by a defense analyst, Dr. Shabana Fayaz. Dr. Shabana Fayaz, welcome to the show. First of all, I would like to ask you that do you think that the reopening of Torkham crossing signifies the relations between the two states?
As we know, Manur, that there have been very tense weeks between the two countries, starting from October 12th, and even prior to that, regarding the firing from the Afghan side into the Pakistan area, and then Pakistan retaliation and strike deep inside Kabul to take down the militants. And as a result of that, the trade and all the carriers were stopped not only at Torkham but other borders as well with Afghanistan. What we followed was that with the support and advice of two mediators, specifically the Qatar and the Turkey, the both sides agreed to have a meeting. And in the first round, on the request of the Taliban regime, the Pakistan agreed for a ceasefire. That was on 17th October, or I think 18th October. And then what follows is another rigorous sort of the dialogues between the two countries. So on the Pakistan side, I say that Pakistan has said that we are willing to open the trade because both sides the economic matters. So, along with that, we need to follow the track of the militants, TTP specifically, that are based in Afghanistan and attacking the Pakistan across the border. So this is the major series, but it is a very good sign. It is a sign of more of a opening up, sign of Pakistan's willingness to deal with Afghanistan as its neighbor in its own right.
Exactly, and that's a very positive step by Pakistan, but the trade between the two countries is still suspended. Don't you think that is it a high time for Taliban regime to understand the economic implications of it? Because obviously if it is impacting Pakistan, it is impacting Afghanistan as well.
Yes, of course. I think the Afghan regime has to understand that the people-centric security is the ultimate security. And unlike the Pakistan state, where they can afford to have the military security at the maximum premium level, which the Pakistan has achieved, we are working very hard on human security side. If you look at Afghanistan side, there all sides are very, very in the slow steep. So for these, I think the Afghan regime and specifically the Taliban who have come to protect the people of Afghanistan have not so far delivered to their promises, and it is a loss of trade. It is a loss of the goodwill on the both sides, and specifically on the Pakistan side that has always been seeing and shouldering the the tense relations, the tense situation that Afghanistan has encountered from time to time.
Exactly, exactly. Dr. Shabana, you are a foreign affairs expert, and I want your comments on it that as it is a goodwill gesture, we have shown to the Taliban regime, we have shown to the world that Pakistan is always ready to promote peace in the region. But what is that impact would have on India in the region and for the other neighboring countries?
I personally feel for the situation in Afghanistan and also for the peace and stability in South Asia, we need to have a regional coordinated strategy. And it is from the Pakistan has always taken a step forward, even with having the wars and the skirmishes with India from time to time, that let's go to the table and let's sort out the dialogues. But India continues to stick to their position on certain issues, like they believe that terrorism is because of Pakistan, and they try to put all the ills towards the other side. And unfortunately, being the bigger state in size and also with the highest index of economic wealth, they have not been able to knit that into regional connectivity. Now, what we are seeing, that India tries to get its mission done by giving the aid. Like to the Afghanistan, they are pumping in a lot of aid, even during the earlier regime and now again with Taliban. So similarly, other states, and Afghanistan seems to be vulnerable, and it seems to be, in the changing international political system. They want to be more, they want to be attached with all the states who gives them money, who gives them material, who gives them support. So this is a sort of situation. So unfortunately, in the case of South Asia, this whole triangular relationships don't look that positive in future.
All right, all right. Dr. Shabana, as you have already mentioned, that regional coordinated strategy is required for that. Beforehand, we have seen the talks were mediated by Turkey and Qatar. Now, who will hold that, who will govern that? Because Pakistan is ready for the negotiation talks. Pakistan is trying the best, as we have done a very, positive steps towards that. But now, what do you think? Is Qatar and, Turkey is having the responsibility for regional coordinated talks, or what do you suggest for that?
Mediators can't take the responsibility. If you look into the history of international diplomatic relationships, mediators are there to facilitate. They are there to provide an environment that is free of risk, that is free of tensions, and where both sides feel confident enough that this place is viable to have the open and frank dialogue. Yes, in case of Istanbul's second track has followed, and we all know after the first track and the later on, there have been very tense and breakdown situations. In that, obviously, the second layer of diplomacy, indirectly diplomacy, in fact, in which obviously the Ankara and others might have played a good role in it. But to say that they will be the guarantors of peace, no. The guarantors of peace will ultimately be the states, and those who are the governments, those are responsible for the security and foreign policy, to make it instituted. And I must say that political will is very essential. And for a regime like Taliban regime that is not worldwide recognized as the UN on the UN seat, the losing an opportunity to be detached from its big neighbor seems not an advisable situation.
Dr. Shabana, that clearly shows that the policies they are having inside the country, the policies they are having domestically, they are trying to implement it on the worldwide. That is literally, frustration, or we can call it extremism. But we have seen that on one hand, Pakistan is trying to promote the bilateral relationships or willing for the peace talks. But on the other hand, our stance is very clear. Pakistan is very firm on that, as our defense minister has mentioned that Pakistan will retaliate if Afghan-based militants continue to attack. How do you see it? Is it a balance? On one side, we are a bit firm on our stance, on the other side, we are welcoming the peace talks as well.
I think, given the Pakistan gesture, whether it is by our defense minister or media or the people, level, it is reflection of your own position, your geostrategic and economic strength, and of course that is also coupled with your hardcore strength as well. So, and this is combined with a very positive and nationalism feeling that has accompanied, continues to accompany, like in case of India and also in case of Afghanistan or anybody in the world that threatens towards Pakistan, creates a threat. So this is one thing, and number two is that for Afghanistan, I feel that the diplomatic loneliness or isolation can be one result. Or even if it couples up with those adversaries that are, of Pakistan, or any other, third major powers like Russia or like US or others, it can create more tension for their own sphere. So best for the situation like Afghanistan, that is one of the very critical states in the region, given its resources, given its people resilience, given its position in the geopolitical and geostrategic positions. I think they should play their cards wisely. And Afghan Taliban are very pragmatic people. They are not that they know how to conduct their relations, but I feel very sort of surprised that why they are not conducting their relationship in a way that we all believed that it is going to be a very smooth relationship with Pakistan.
Exactly, and we were having very good relationships with the Afghan migrants here in Pakistan. We welcomed them warmly, and we have hosted them for like decades. Do you really think that the international community, international world has recognized Pakistan's contribution, and especially I'll use the word burden that was on our economy, that was on us, on socially or social terms as well. Do you really think that international world has recognized it?
Well, I really feel that Pakistan has given a space to the Afghan refugees. These are the common people, majority of them. There's a very little class that is very well off, and they have used, even the ruling Talibans and earlier regimes who have their, the businesses here in Pakistan. But the rest of them are the workers on the streets or the small workers and the low-waged families. Yes, the world has recognized Pakistan's institutional strength, and specifically the UNHCR. And we have been, although we haven't signed the refugee law, but Pakistan has lavishly contributed to, having the refugee settlement in Pakistan. I won't really agree that, Afghan refugees have all been that bad, but believe me, I know some tag them and they might be true with the narcotics, the drugs, and the other culture, but the fact of the matter is that they have provided the cheaper labor. And even though in some parts they, according to the KPK, they snatched away the indigenous population laborship. But I still feel that Afghan refugees in the small jobs and medium skills have contributed. And it is now their third generation who is living here, although many have been sent back, but still they have been raised in Pakistan. And importantly, they are not anti-Pakistan. They are not anti-Pakistan, and they are very grateful to Pakistan. And unfortunately, if one regime takes the direction in the opposite case, they will be creating more poison in the minds of Afghani young generation that should not happen in future.
Exactly, that's so thought of you. Thank you so much, Dr. Shabana Fayaz, for joining us. She is foreign affairs expert, and she was rightly mentioning that the fact it is not about the people, it is about the Taliban regime who's not going to settle down, who's not going to have peace in the region, and continuously letting the enemy or other people to use their land against the neighboring countries, especially for Pakistan. Moving towards our second very important topic, where United States and India has taken a major step in deepening their relationship, and they have signed 10 years defense agreement aimed at enhancing the coordination, information sharing and technological cooperation between the two militaries. And it is described as a crucial step for now, but is it that much crucial, or it is just another defense pact between the two states? We'll talk about that, and for that we have joined by Dr. Jamil Ahmed. He's the former ambassador. Welcome to the show, Dr. Jamil. First of all, I would like
My
your
pleasure.
comments on it. How do you see it? Is it just another defense pact between the two countries, or it is having something really big in it?
Well, another defense pact, there's no doubt in it, but it's at the same time, it's a very significant one. And in the current geopolitical landscape, what is going around in the globe and around the globe and in the region, it becomes very significant. And then it's shifting power dynamics. Such agreements, they can be taken as shifting power dynamics. U.S. on one side, once Trump came into power, it appeared that U.S. is now easing out the China containment or competition, whatever we may call it. But now again, once again, it seems with this kind of an agreement and the posturing of the United States, it appears that there are long outstanding and the long policy, foreign policy that which their establishment had evolved is again being implemented, and that's why it seems the agreement like this would mean that there is a recalibration in its strategy in South Asia. And again, the only big power in this entire the geopolitical context, regional context, it's China, South China Sea, and the maritime sea line. So that was the initial thoughts once they started having India as a counterbalance in this region, and India became a part of the Quad, and India had already had about six different agreements with the United States, and that all related to the defense. And this 10 years agreement, and after the signing of this agreement, I can only quote the Secretary of State, United States, and it says that it's a cornerstone for the regional stability and deterrence. And it also says it will tackle China growing assertiveness in the region. So if these kind of remarks at the time of signing and these kind of analysis are available for us to examine, then in that case, of course, we can very conveniently say that it's the recalibration of foreign policy of United States. Now, in the historical context, India defense collaboration is not a new thing. It started in Bush time and it expanded in Obama time, right? And basically, the center piece of the whole, all these defense agreements are China how to reduce Chinese influence in the region, and how to really position itself, the North versus the South, how to position itself once it comes to disrupting the maritime sea line. And I must also remind that China depends on this maritime sea line and South China Sea about 85% of their oil and the goods and services. They use this very route. And the what are the previous key defense agreement? It's basically the GSOMIA, which means the General Security of Military Information and Agreement, and then PECA. BECA is by itself Basic Exchange of Cooperation Agreement. So then the Limawa again. So all these agreements, it contributes to one thing, that there's a communication compatibility, secure, and there are intelligence sharing, and which means that at any future conflict, in case of any future conflict or war, India would have the right to have integrated access to the information, satellite information, which means all the movement, Chinese movement, Indian, Pakistani movement, and its troops movement, and its equipment, its aircraft. So that could be vulnerable. And Pakistan, I'm sure, while they are examining it, they must be having all these considerations. And then this gives an strategic gain to India, and operational capability such as the intelligence access of India to the satellite and to the most sophisticated integrated system of United States as per these agreements. If India has those access, it would in this region, it will have a little edge, and the other countries, China and Pakistan, they'll have to really enhance and increase and match their the military strategy with it. And I'm sure they are doing it, because we also have our joint production. But one thing is very interesting and amazing, that on one side we're having such a great cooperation from the United States, the rare earth contract and oil exploration, and all the praises by the President of the United States for Pakistan on one side. there's a collaboration on the other side, the continuity of their previous foreign policy of strengthening India. And I quite understand people like myself, we understand it quite well that that is basically being done to check Chinese influence and to have its dominance in the South China Sea. So we understand that. But India has always tried to take an advantage of all such facilities which has been extended to India against Pakistan. And now that Modi has seen that the kind of decline in its domestic popularity after Markai Haq, after the war, which we were able to show our edge, Modi would like to do some adventure, see what's happening in this tri-service exercise, what India is doing, and how Pakistan has alerted its southern command for it. So all these things, if we just have in our mind, we can find out that Pakistan or China, or for that matter, the other regional countries, they have to be prepared for enhancing their capabilities as well.
All
Yes.
right, Dr. Jamil, you have mentioned very important points that US is trying to contain China through India in the region, and on the other hand, we have seen that Pakistan's military is being praised by the President Trump. But don't you think that on one hand we are trying to build strong bilateral relationships between US and Pakistan, but on the other hand, if it is through India, they are trying to contain China, it is threatening Pakistan as well. Does it having any impact on the regional stability of South Asia? Because one way or on the other, Pakistan is going to be affected through this. Don't you think that?
No. Well, I
No?
tell you, this is the most complex region of the world. The India and Pakistan, both nuclear power, and they are face to face almost every time there is a conflict or there is a situation of conflict. So obviously, the entire world gets worried. But at the same time, the United States' priority is how to really strengthen India as a counterweight against China. And in the process, as I was saying, BJP, in its dwindling popularity in its own homeland, they are trying to just restore their whatever face they lost during Markai Haq. So they would like to use those capabilities against Pakistan also. So in that context, Pakistan becomes a little vulnerable in terms of its conventional war. But then Pakistan has also shown its strength so far as the conventional war is concerned. And no one less than the most powerful president of the most powerful country has said it about 56 times as to how the planes, the Rafale plane 7, a new one, as the Donald Trump expresses, and was brought down by Pakistan. So Pakistan has shown in its missile system and its will to fight. The people, the motivated soldiers, the inspiration of the soldiers. So that could defeat a force which is larger in number and larger in having their equipment, armament, and everything. So yes, the India would always like that, although it is strengthening itself. But then if we bear in mind the BJP, how it is propelled by the RSS and Hindutva mindset, they also believe in expansionism, Mahabharat expansionism, and hegemonic style of their foreign policy of India. So they will start using it for that purpose. Because what for are they going to have a joint production of MQ-9B drones? And those drones are very high altitude drone. And if India starts producing through the joint venture, then obviously China, Pakistan, for that matter, they'll have to really counterbalance that. And also the procurement of F-41, 414, which is the engine of the jet fighter plane. So that would be a matter of concern by the neighboring countries like Pakistan and like China and other neighboring countries. So these joint production capabilities Pakistan also has a joint production capability of GF-17 Thunder. And I'm sure Pakistan and China and some neighboring countries, for that matter, SCO countries, they must be thinking how to really, although India also is a member of the SCO, but India has not really collaborated with SCO as much as Pakistan, China, Russia, and some other states are. So they'll have to really see how they would be able to have the balance to counter any such possible threat. Uh, I think now is a time that we also have to, and I'm sure the foreign policy is it evolves, in view of the surrounding circumstances, in view of the regional the scenario, in view of the regional dynamics. So Pakistan, I'm sure, must be having that. In this Malaysian, this ASEAN. The summit, what had happened just a couple of days ago. First, Marco Rubio meets with the foreign minister of India, and then followed by the two defense ministers, defense secretary and defense minister. They are signing 10 years the defense agreement. So although we understand that these are the sovereign rights of the bilateral relations are basically the sovereign rights of the countries, we understand that. But if it exposes or if it leaves other countries vulnerable, then in that case, those countries like Pakistan, like China, they would definitely be thinking about enhancing their capacity and capability also. So
Exactly, exactly.
things are getting very,
That's very
yeah, things
important,
are
Dr.
getting,
Jamil. But the things you have mentioned is about the contemporary situation. The contemporary situation demands this. That's why they're calling it as a crucial step, because elections are coming up in Bihar, and then we have seen the current situation in the South Asia region, where the relations between Pakistan and India are quite hostile. But what would be the implications of it after a decade or two, when there is a lot of responsibility lies on Pakistan to design their policy according to it? We are having good relations with China. We are having good relations with the US as well. We are having defense pact with several countries. But still, what would be the implications of it in the longer term if we talk about it after a decade or two?
well, anybody's guess, because things are changing so fast. The geopolitical situation, is changing very fast in this region, and all countries of the region, or even the globe for that matter, they are trying to match this. It's a very dynamic foreign policy is required to be kept, and it's unless we have 360-degree vision about the foreign policy and what is happening in the region or around the globe, any country for that matter, including Pakistan, it would not be possible to keep pace with the happenings and with the kind of vulnerability around the world. So we must also remember that in the world, it's your own strength, it's the strength of a nation which makes them stand in front of any threat. There is no other authority than the nation's, there is no superior authority than the strength of the nation, basically. We have seen how United Nations failed to, because of the Security Council. Otherwise, United Nations in humanitarian work, they are doing excellent. But because of the Security Council, which is quite politicized, and because of the veto power of those 5 countries, we have not been able to resolve Gaza problem, the Palestine problems, and Kashmir problems. Two most outstanding points and on the agenda, outstanding disputes on the agenda of United Nations. And in terms of Kashmir, it's even the United States and other countries of the world, they realize that Kashmir is a flashpoint, as a matter of fact. We have fought several wars with India, and it continues to be quite a vulnerable area where any time in future also there could be a conflict, and that could lead to serious consequences, not only for the India and Pakistan, but also for the entire world. And that's why you saw that on the 8th of May, during Markai Haq, J.D. Vance a day prior was saying that, we have got nothing to do with the conflict of these two countries. But the following day, once they found that the things are escalating, the entire cabinet of United States, particularly for the Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense and the President of the United States, they came in and they had to really mediate, and they had to really they had to calm down both sides. But more importantly, India was at a weaker wicket, and that's why things had to really return to the end of the war at that time. So that is basically flashpoint, and the entire world gets worried. Any two countries, for that matter, even during the Cold War, the Russians and Americans, they never came face to that extent. And Pakistan and India, being just neighbors, they had come face to face. And we may recall that we were compelled to call for the command authority meeting in the morning of 9th and rather 8th morning. And that raised an alarm in the world community, including United States. And therefore, they started stepping in into the mediation, and they had to really calm it down. And therefore, Kashmir problem, as Donald Trump says that he is in a position to resolve that, I think it's a time they should do that. And then probably Pakistan, or for that matter, even India, can think of progressing well in the region and looking up for the welfare of their own people, investing money on the welfare of the people rather than equipping themselves and spending so much of their resources on procuring the higher grade of defense equipment, arms, and ammunition. So that would go to the welfare of the people of their respective countries. And India's dream of growing double digit, they can only do it once they start behaving in a way that the Kashmir problem is resolved, and we have our very straight and simple stand on it, and we've been always voicing it, whether it is United Nations Security Council, or for that matter, any other international platform. And it's for this reason that all what we are seeing around is a matter of concern for not only the region, but also for the world. Yes.
Exactly, exactly. Dr. Jamil, that you have mentioned, Kashmir issue cannot be ignored while talking about such kind of defense pact. On one hand, we have seen that Pakistan is obviously trying to raise this concern all over the world that Kashmiris are facing the atrocities by Indian army. But on the other hand, we have seen that on one hand, India is signing defense pact or signing such kind of deals with US. On the other hand, they are trying to build their good relationship with Russia as well. Do you really think that India is trying to play between US and Russia, and under such kind of defense pact or under such kind of deals or under such kind of military collaborations or cooperations, India is going to resolve Kashmir issue?
Well, India would only like to resolve it on their own term, but so far as the relation with Russia, or for that matter, USA, or for that matter, their over 125 or 30 billion trade with China, well, they are trying to exploit all the situations in their favor, and I wouldn't blame them. They, by fair or foul means, they are trying to benefit from there. My only the reservation is that if they are doing it, they should do it for the welfare of their own people also. Their people are still sleeping on the footpaths, and the kind of the common man life is really miserable. So they should look after their people, in fact, and their this strategy or this tactics which they are following, well, they are basically exploiting it. And one day or the other, or one way or the other, they would be exposed. And they are exposed, as a matter of fact. And that's why you saw that much of tariff on India, because they've been having the oil facilities from Russians, and not only consumed themselves, but they started exporting it, and they were exposed, they were caught. And therefore, the US had to really impose the tariff on Indian goods and services. It's because of the expediency of the geopolitical issues that the United States is just turning its face on the other side. Otherwise, things are really quite exposed, and we understand it quite well. Our main concern, as I mentioned it earlier, is that India is getting all these facilitations and facilities by giving the understanding to United States and its allies that they are doing it against China. But once it comes to any kind of a conflict, what happened last time during Markai Haq in May, or what is possible to happen, and we are quite alert. Even the Strike Service exercise, which is taking place in this Sir Creek area. Every time we have to put ourselves quite in the alert mode. And in India, while giving the understanding to United States and its allies that they are doing it to become a counterbalance and
All right.
what they
Dr.
call
Chandu,
the dominant. Yeah.
you off,
Yes.
we have shown the world that we have the second strike capability during the Markai Haq. But now, when you have mentioned the chance of the India, how India is playing, don't you think that India is trying to play among Russia, US, and China?
That's right, but there's these kind of the attitude is exposed. It's basically because of the geopolitical dynamics that the United States and the other players of the world are not really checking India to that extent. Otherwise, the kind of on the other side, India is violating international laws, maybe the atrocities against minorities. And there is a report by the commission, the Minority Commission of United States, which has mentioned what kind of atrocities, what kind of marginalization they are doing against the minorities, and also what atrocities and they have unleashed in Kashmir. And that coincides and that aligns with what reports have been formulated by the Human Rights Council of United States, United Nations. But then the world is just trying to keep low on it because they want India to be a counterbalance. That strategy has not been dropped, in fact. And United States, it's part of their foreign policy. And for the time being, we thought that their foreign policy has started getting recalibrated. But since that foreign policy is a permanent feature, particularly the competition with China, it seems that that will continue, and because of which all what we have discussed and what we are witnessing around in this region is in fact part of that. And as I quoted the Secretary of State of United States, that what he stated after signing the agreement, that it's a cornerstone agreement, and it would also have a check on China and words to that effect. So these are the clear indications that the geopolitical dynamics in this region is giving an edge to India, because India has position. Remember that India has always been with the global South, but India suddenly changed its foreign policy about 20, 25 years ago, and they started leaning towards global North. And it's for this reason it has to become an ally of the United States and its other allies, and is now playing its role as a counterweight and trying to take best advantage from the United States and from other countries who are aligned with the United States. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you so much, Dr. Jamil, for joining us tonight. And Dr. Jamil is a former ambassador. He was talking about US-India Defense Pact. On one side, we have seen that US and India is signing Defense Pact. On the other side, we have seen that India is violating international laws and has been exposed badly in Canada and US. So now, moving forward towards our third and very important story where Pakistan is winning the hearts of Indians. I'm very right about it because Pakistan has issued 2100 visas to Indian Sikh pilgrims who are going to visit Pakistan from 4th of November to 13th of November on the birth celebration of Baba Guru Nanak, who is the founder of Sikhism. And it is a Pakistan's effort in promoting interfaith harmony. It is a Pakistan's effort to promoting regional stability, obviously by welcoming pilgrims from a country with whom we are having hostile relationships, but we are always there to promote peace, we are always there to negotiation, and when it comes to religious tourism, we are always there. To talk about that, we are joined by Mr. Shabir Wagra. He is a chief reporter of Pakistan TV. Mr. Shabir, welcome to the show. First of all, I would like to have your comment on the issuance of visas. We have seen that it is something very positive from Pakistan, and it is a very important step in a very crucial time when both the countries are having hostile relationship. What's your take on it?
Yes, Naila, indeed, this is a very positive gesture from Pakistan side, especially issuing 2100 visas to Sikh pilgrims for this their ritual. This very important ritual in Sikh religion, and that 2100 visas have been issued, despite of the fact that there are hostility from Indian side, and even they have shown their intentions that they will not allow these Sikh pilgrims to travel to Pakistan. Despite of that fact, Pakistan embassy in New Delhi, they have issued 2100 visas, and that is evident that Pakistan is always putting religious harmony and religious sentiments of other religions at the forefront, despite having very tough relations with India due to the May conflict and subsequent very harsh statements from Indian leadership coming from Indian Prime Minister, Indian other leadership. Despite of that, Pakistan's gestures remain very positive, and this has been shown by Pakistan's leadership and Pakistan's embassy in New Delhi that they have issued these visas. Not only these visas has been issued, but they have been allowed to travel not only to Nankana Sahib for this particular Sikh there to celebrate their founders' birth anniversary, and but also they have been allowed to travel to other religious holy sites like Panja Sahib in Hassan Abdal, and also Kartarpur Gurdwara. They are being allowed to travel to there as well. So these Sikhs coming from India, these 2100 who will be joining, thousands of others coming from across the globe, from UK, from Canada, from USA, and other parts of the world. They are coming to celebrate their religious rituals in Pakistan at their holy sites. They will join them in visiting other places as well. So Pakistan has allowed them with open heart, without any prejudice, and they are facilitating. Not only that, Pakistan chargé d'affaires in India, Mr. Baraj, he also stated in his statement that Pakistan will facilitate their stay in their 10 days stay starting on November 4th, that is Tuesday. This ceremony is starting, and they will conclude their rituals on November 13th. So this almost 10 days stay.
Exactly. Mr. Shabir, we have seen that Pakistan has taken this decision at a very crucial time where both the countries are having hostile relationship. Does it prove that Pakistan separates religion from the politics as compared to India? We have seen that what's happening inside the India. So unlike India, Pakistan is separating religion from the politics.
Pakistan has always remained on this side that Pakistan never mixed religious issues with politics. Pakistan never mixed sports with politics. And Pakistan, even at different global levels, different issues which are of a humanitarian nature, Pakistan never mixed with politics. This has remained the hallmark of India, that they mix such things that vis-a-vis sports is concerned. They started mixing sports with the politics. Then comes to the religious sentiments of people. The Sikhs are a large community, that is a minority in India, with a very hundreds of thousands are living in India, and they have very basic, their majority of their holy sites are inside Pakistan. So forbidding them or stopping them to travel to Pakistan is really unfortunate. Pakistan has shown such a big heart by giving visas to 2106 who applied for that without any hurdle and without any major issue. And then not only granted that visa, but also assured them a very positive and very facilitated travel to Pakistan and stay inside Pakistan. So that showed that Pakistan has shown, at, as a nation and as a state in the community of nations, Pakistan's behavior always remained very mature vis-a-vis, very contrast to Indian behavior. If we talk about religious travel from Pakistan to India is concerned, India always create trouble for Pakistani visa seekers. But when comes to Pakistan, even not only for Sikh pilgrims, for Hindu pilgrims, there are many sites in Pakistan for that. Hindu pilgrims travel to Pakistan by time and again, and Pakistan always facilitated them as well. So you are right that Pakistan have shown this in the community of nations, that they are not mixing religion with the, they are not troubling the religious sentiments of a certain community if it even lives in India or traveling from India. They are not mixing sports with politics, but India is doing both.
Exactly, exactly. And we have seen that Punjab government has finalized the arrangement of Sikh pilgrims here as well. And we are so excited to host them as well. Like always, we are so excited and we always welcome them with the open heart. But we have seen that the media in India always try to propagate that Pakistanis are their enemies, not only the military or the civil leadership, but the people as well. So do you really think that this type, when people are welcoming them, we have seen that government on the one hand is trying to facilitate them, making arrangements for them to make them here comfortable, but on the other hand, people go there, welcome them, we are having very good relations with them, people to people contact is very good. Do you really think that it would bring people of India and Pakistan closer to each other?
There are definitely, it will have its impact on people to people relations, and it always was. People to people relations are, especially with the Sikh community, they have very great respect for Pakistan. And if we talk about Indian media and their propaganda, it has been proven that Indian media is playing hand in hand with the extremist elements in the Modi government. Modi government itself is considered and has been recognized as very extremist and hostile government, not only to the neighboring countries like Pakistan and other neighboring countries, but also to its own people. The minorities are suffering in India: Muslim minorities, Sikh minorities, Christian minorities, and other different minorities. They are suffering, and it is evident everywhere in the world. The world organizations are speaking about the way Indian hardliners are treating minorities inside India. Then comes their media that is playing hand in hand with the extremist Hindutva ideological leadership of Indian government. That is why they are Indian different analysts and different journalists, the same voices, they called it Godi media. That is why they called it, term this Godi media term has been coined by them, because they consider that they are now playing hand in hand with Hindutva ideological leaders and not playing their due role in the society. They are spreading hatred, they are spreading propaganda, and they are going away from a lot, totally a 180-degree opposite to the journalistic norms and ethics that have not been seen by Indian public. Even many sane voices, you talk about journalists, analysts, political leaders, whoever have a sane voice, they are speaking against what Indian media is doing. So that is not very astonishing for Pakistan now.
Exactly, Exactly. Mr. Wagner, we have seen that Indian Sikhs are not safe in India, not even in Canada by Indian spies, or not even safe in US as well, but they are being welcomed by Pakistan here in the celebration of birth anniversary of Baba Guru Nanak. Don't you think that this thing is well admitted, well conceded by the Sikhs around the globe?
Yes, indeed. If we talk about the different statements given by Sikh community and their leadership, they recognized and acknowledged Pakistan's welcoming attitude towards their pilgrims, and also the way Pakistan has built facilitated their stay and built different facilities around their holy sites. Kartarpur corridor is one of the best example of that. Despite of all the hurdles faced by from Indian side, Pakistan has built state of the art facilities at Kartarpur, which is acknowledged by Sikh community. Even if you remember that during May standoff between Pakistan and India, different leaders from Sikh community, those are residing in Canada and USA, they have clearly shown their support for Pakistan in their statements. We ourselves listened their statements, video statements where they supported Pakistan. So that showed their love for Pakistan and their respect for Pakistan due to the fact that how Pakistan has given them respect. Pakistan has facilitated them for their religious rituals, and also Pakistan has looked after their holy sites the way they have been even maybe not have been looked after in India.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Shabir, for joining us tonight. And Mr. Shabir is a chief reporter of Pakistan TV, and we were talking about the issuance of visas. 2,100 visas were issued to the Sikh pilgrims who are about to visit Pakistan on 4th of November to 13th of November. So that's it from today's show. We were talking about the three different topics. Let's have a recap of it. We were talking about Pakistan reopened Torkham border crossing with Afghanistan and allowing thousands of Afghan refugees to go back home. That's another very positive gesture of Pakistan. We have issued 2,100 visas to the Indian pilgrims. And then we were talking about the United States and India's defense pact that is considered as a crucial step. So that's it from today's show. This is your host, Manu Qureshi, signing off. Keep informed, keep responsible journalism alive, and keep watching News at 7.